Amara Okonkwo was only 10 years old when her world quietly broke apart. That was the year her mother died. No loud drama, no big farewell. Just one morning, her mother didn't wake up. From that day, Amara learned what silence really felt like. She became a quiet child, the kind who listened more than she spoke, who watched people closely and trusted them deeply. She grew up in Enugu, in a small but respectable family. Her mother had been a wise woman. Before she died, she made sure something was left for her only daughter. A piece of land on the outskirts of town, some savings in the bank, and a small box of jewelry that she always kept locked. Everyone knew those things were meant for Amara. They were her future, her security, her mother's last gift. But Amara was too young to understand money or property. So everything was handed over to her father, Chief Chinedu Okonkwo. "Don't worry, my daughter," he told her many times. "I am your father. I will keep everything safe for you." And Amara believed him. Why wouldn't she? He paid her school fees. He bought her books. He attended her graduations. He called her my little star. To her, he was her hero, her protector, her only parent left in the world. After he remarried, things changed slowly. Not in obvious ways, just small things. Less time together, more closed doors, more whispered conversations with her stepmother, Ngozi. But Amara never questioned it. She never asked about the land. She never asked about the savings. She never asked about the jewelry. She trusted her father with her whole heart. And she had no idea that trust would one day cost her almost everything. Amara's graduation day came faster than she ever imagined. For years of sleepless nights, borrowed textbooks, cheap noodles, and endless prayers had finally paid off. Standing inside the big hall in Nsukka, wearing her black gown and cap, she felt proud of herself for the first time in a long time. She had done it. She was now a graduate. When her name was called, she walked to the stage with shaky legs and a bright smile. She could see her father sitting in the crowd. Chief Chinedu Okonkwo was dressed in his usual fine agbada, looking important and confident. Beside him sat Ngozi, her stepmother, wearing heavy makeup and gold earrings that shined under the lights. They clapped politely when Amara received her certificate. After the ceremony, families gathered outside for pictures. Everyone was laughing, hugging, and taking selfies. Some parents were giving their children envelopes, others were promising cars, phones, or trips abroad. Amara didn't expect much. Just having her father there was enough. Later, when things became calmer, her father called her aside. "Amara, come," he said, smiling. She followed him under a tree where Ngozi was already standing. "I have something for you," he said, putting his hand inside his pocket. Her heart jumped. "A gift?" He slowly brought out a small black box and placed it in her hand. "Open it," he said. With excitement, Amara lifted the cover. Inside was a wristwatch. A gold and silver watch with a heavy face. "Rolex," her father said proudly. "Original." People nearby turned to look. "A Rolex," someone whispered. Amara stared at it, confused and amazed at the same time. She had heard of Rolex. Rich people wore it. Celebrities wore it. Politicians wore it. Not people like her. "Daddy for me?" she asked softly. "Yes," he replied. "You deserve it. This is better than useless land and papers. This one is real value." He laughed lightly when he said it. But Amara didn't laugh. "Useless land?" she repeated in her mind. She remembered her mother's words long ago. "This land is for your future, my daughter." She pushed the thought away. Her father carefully helped her wear the watch. It felt heavy on her wrist. Too heavy. When she looked closely, she noticed small scratches on the glass. The strap looked old. The gold color had faded in some places. It didn't shine like the watches she had seen online. But she said nothing. Ngozi stood beside them, smiling. Not a warm smile. A strange one. The kind that didn't reach the eyes. Almost like a smirk. "Congratulations, Amara," Ngozi said. "You are lucky to have such a caring father." Amara smiled back politely. "Thank you, Mama." People gathered around to admire the watch. "Wow, your father really tried. This is big. You are blessed." Amara nodded and thanked them, but inside, she felt something she couldn't explain. A small discomfort. A quiet doubt. That night, in her hostel room, she sat on her bed and stared at the watch again. She wiped it gently with her cloth. The scratches were still there. She turned it around. No papers. No receipt. No box apart from the small one her father gave her. Still, she smiled. "This is from Daddy," she whispered. She wore it to sleep, not knowing that this strange gift was hiding a story that would soon change her life forever. After graduation, Amara returned to Enugu to stay with her family while she searched for a job. She was hopeful. She believed her life was finally starting. Every morning, she woke up early, sent applications, helped around the house, and tried her best not to be a burden. She still wore the Rolex every day. To her, it was not just a watch. It was proof that her father loved her, proof that he cared. One hot afternoon, Amara went to buy vegetables from the small market near their street. The sun was harsh, and sweat rolled down her face. She stopped near a roadside shop to rest for a moment. That was when she heard her name. "Is that not Chief Okonkwo's daughter?" a woman asked. "Yes, Amara," another replied. "The one whose land he sold last year." Amara froze. Her legs became weak. "Which land?" the first woman asked. "The one her late mother left for her. He sold it to that businessman from very expensive land. He collected full money. And the girl doesn't even know," the other woman said. Life is funny." They laughed softly and continued talking. Amara could no longer hear anything else. Her ears were ringing. Her heart was pounding. "She must be mistaken," Amara whispered to herself. "They don't know what they're saying." She rushed home, her bag swinging wildly on her shoulder. When she entered the house, her father was not around. Ngozi was in the kitchen talking on the phone. Amara went straight to her father's room. Her hands were shaking. She had never searched his things before. Never. But that day something pushed her. She opened the drawer near his bed. Inside were files, papers, and envelopes. She picked one and opened it. Her breath stopped. It was a land agreement. Her name was there. Her mother's name was there. But the new owner's name was also there. Stamped. Signed. Transferred. She flipped through more papers. More documents. More proofs. Everything was real. Her land was gone. Sold. She sat on the floor slowly, holding the papers. Her head felt heavy. Her chest hurt. "But he said he was keeping it safe," she whispered. Tears dropped on the documents. Still, she kept searching. Maybe this was all. Maybe that was the only thing. She opened another envelope. Inside were old bank statements. Her mother's savings account. Withdrawn. Empty. Closed. Her hands started trembling badly. She moved to another file. This one contained pictures and receipts. Jewelry receipts. Pawn shop papers. Sales records. Her mother's gold chain. Her diamond ring. Her wedding bangles. All sold. All gone. Amara covered her mouth. A loud cry wanted to come out, but she forced it back. Her heart felt like it was breaking into pieces. Her own father, the man she trusted more than anyone, had taken everything her mother left for and replaced it with a scratched watch. She wiped her tears quickly when she heard footsteps. She returned everything exactly the way she found it. She washed her face. She went to her room. That night, she lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling. The Rolex was still on her wrist. It suddenly felt heavy, like a chain, like a lie. She wanted to ask him. She wanted to shout. She wanted to cry. But she didn't. She stayed quiet. She swallowed her pain. And she decided silently that one day, she would rise above this betrayal, even if no one knew her tears. Amara left Enugu quietly. No farewell party. No long goodbyes. No emotional speech. One morning, she packed her small bag, folded her clothes neatly, picked up her certificates, and wore her scratched Rolex on her wrist. She looked at herself in the mirror and forced a smile. "This is my new beginning," she whispered. She moved to Onitsha, a busy city that never slept. Buses honked all day. Traders shouted from morning till night. The air was always full of noise, dust, and struggle. At first, the city scared her. Everything moved so fast. Nobody cared who you were or where you came from. If you were weak, you would be crushed. So Amara decided she would not be weak. She found a small room in a crowded compound. The paint was peeling. The fan hardly worked. Water came only twice a week. But it was hers. Her first independent space. Her first job was in a phone accessories shop at the main market. From morning till evening, she stood on her feet, smiling at customers. Charger? Power bank? Earphones? She said those words 100 times a day. Her boss paid her little, but she never complained. After work, she returned home tired, with swollen feet and aching back. At night, she opened her laptop and worked as an online tutor. She taught children English and math through video calls. Sometimes the internet was bad. Sometimes students didn't pay on time. Sometimes she fell asleep while reading. But she kept going. Every day. Every night. Through all of it, she wore the Rolex. Always. To work. To church. To interviews. To the market. To bed. It had become her emotional support. Her reminder. Her silent promise to herself. "This is all I have from my parents," she told herself. "I will not throw it away." But people noticed. And they talked. One afternoon at the shop, a customer laughed when he saw it. "Madam, is that Rolex?" he asked. "Yes," Amara replied softly. He burst out laughing. "This one. Look at it. It's old. It's fake. See scratches everywhere." Her co-workers joined. "Ah, Amara, remove this thing. It's embarrassing you. Go and buy small Casio SEF. Who gave you this rubbish?" She smiled and said nothing. Another day, at a cafe where she went to use Wi-Fi, two girls whispered loudly. "She thinks she's rich because of that watch." "My dear, it's from roadside." Amara heard everything. Every word. Every laugh. Every mockery. Sometimes she went to the bathroom and cried quietly. Sometimes she stared at her wrist and asked herself, "Why do I still wear this?" But she never removed it. Because to her, it wasn't fake. It was her mother's last memory. It was her father's broken promise. It was her pain. It was her strength. It was her story. Even when her salary delayed. Even when her students canceled. Even when she ate only bread and tea. Even when she was lonely. She kept fighting. With her head high. With tired eyes. With a brave heart. And with a scratched watch that the world mocked. But destiny was secretly preparing to turn into her greatest blessing. One busy afternoon in Onitsha, the market was louder than usual. Traders were shouting prices. Customers were arguing. Motorcycles were passing every second. Amara stood inside the small shop, arranging phone cases on the shelf. She was tired. She had taught online till 2 a.m. the night before. Her eyes were heavy. Her feet were hurting. But she still smiled when customers entered. That day, a tall man in his late 30s walked in. He was well-dressed, simple but neat. He wore glasses and carried himself with quiet confidence. He didn't rush like others. He looked around calmly. "Good afternoon," Amara said politely. "Good afternoon," he replied. "I'm looking for a fast charger. Original one." "Yes, sir, we have," she said and picked one from the shelf. As she handed it to him, he suddenly paused. His eyes moved to her wrist. He stared at her watch. Not for 1 second. Not for 2. For a long time. Amara noticed. She felt uncomfortable. "Sir, is there a problem?" she asked gently. He pointed at her wrist. "Where did you get that watch?" Amara was used to such questions. "From my father," she replied calmly. He moved closer. "Can I see it properly?" She hesitated. People usually laughed at it. But something in his voice felt different. So she slowly removed it and gave it to him. He held it carefully like something precious. He turned it left. Right. Checked the back. Checked the crown. Checked the glass. He even used his phone flashlight. His face slowly changed. His eyes widened. His mouth opened slightly. "This is unbelievable," he whispered. Amara became nervous. "What is it, sir?" He looked at her sharply. "Do you know what you are wearing?" She smiled weakly. "Yes. A fake Rolex. Everybody tells me." He laughed. Not in a mocking way. In shock. In disbelief. "Fake," he repeated. "My sister, this is not fake." She frowned. "What?" "This is a rare vintage Rolex," he said slowly. "Very rare. Very expensive." Amara laughed nervously. "Sir, please don't joke with me." "I am not joking," he replied seriously. "My name is Tunda Debola. I collect luxury watches. I've been doing it for 15 years. He opened his phone and showed her pictures. Boxes of watches. Gold watches. Silver ones. Limited editions. "This one you're wearing," he continued, "was made decades ago. Few pieces exist. Look at the markings. Look at the serial." He showed her tiny signs she had never noticed. Her heart started beating fast. "So, how much is it?" she asked quietly. He paused. "I can't say without inspection. But it's worth a lot." Her hands began to shake. "A lot like how?" "Thousands of dollars," he said. Her head felt light. She held the table. "That's impossible," she whispered. He looked at her kindly. "Whoever gave you this didn't know its real value. Or hid it." She remembered her father. His words. "Better than useless land." Her chest tightened. Tund continued. "Let me send this to Lagos for professional inspection. Certified experts. If it's real, you'll know." She was scared. "What if it gets lost?" "I'll handle everything," he promised. "You'll get it back." After thinking for a long moment, Amara nodded. "Okay." She removed the watch slowly and handed it to him. As he walked out, she stared at her empty wrist. For the first time in years, it felt light. And for the first time in her life, she felt hope. For 2 long weeks after Tund took the watch, Amara could not sleep well. Every night, she kept checking her phone, hoping to see his message. Every morning, she woke up with fear in her chest. What if it was all a mistake? What if the watch was truly fake? What if she had given away the only thing her parents ever gave her? At work, she became quiet. She made mistakes. Customers complained. Her boss warned her twice. At night, she could not focus on her tutoring. Her mind was always on one thing, the watch. Sometimes she blamed herself. "Why did I give it to him so easily?" she would whisper. "What if he runs away?" But deep inside, she trusted him. He looked honest. He spoke with respect. He treated the watch like something sacred. Then one evening, while she was eating Gary and groundnuts in her room, her phone rang. Unknown number. Her heart jumped. She picked it up quickly. "Hello." "Amara, it's Tund," the voice said. Her breath stopped. "Yes, sir? I have good news. Very good news. Are you sitting?" She quickly dropped her food and sat on the bed. "Yes." He laughed softly. "Your watch is 100% original. Certified. Vintage Rolex. Limited edition." She closed her eyes. "So it's real?" "Very real," he replied. "And the estimated value is $35,000. The room started spinning. "How much?" she whispered. $35,000, he repeated. "That's more than 50 million naira." Her phone almost fell from her hand. She covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. "Sir, are you serious?" "I am very serious," he said. "You have been wearing a treasure on your wrist and didn't know." She started crying quietly. All the insults, all the laughter, all the shame. Suddenly, they meant nothing. Tund continued. "We also checked the history. This model was released around the time your mother was alive. Many wealthy women bought it as investment. It was likely her hidden asset." Amara froze. "My mother?" "Yes," he said. "She probably bought it secretly for your future. In case anything happened. Smart woman." Her heart broke and healed at the same time. So her mother had protected her, even in death, even when everything else was taken. "And your father?" she asked slowly. "I don't think he knew its real value," Tund replied. "If he did, he wouldn't have given it to you. He thought it was just an old watch." Amara laughed through her tears. A sad laugh, a relieved laugh. "So, fate hid it from him," she whispered. "Yes," he said. "It seems destiny kept it for you." After the call ended, Amara sat on her bed for a long time, staring at the wall. She remembered her mother's smile, her soft voice, her hugs. "My daughter, I will always protect you," she used to say. And she had, through a scratched watch, through pain, through betrayal, through years of struggle. When everyone thought Amara had nothing, heaven had quietly placed $35,000 on her wrist. She wiped her tears, stood up, and smiled for the first time in years. "Thank you, Mama," she whispered. "I'm safe now." After the shock settled and the tears dried, Amara made one clear decision in her heart. She would not waste this miracle. She met Tund in Lagos, went through all the legal papers, certificates, and verification processes, and sold the watch the right way, with receipts, contracts, and witnesses. When the money entered her account, she stared at the screen for a long time. $35,000. More money than she had ever seen in her life. Her hands were shaking. But instead of rushing to buy clothes, phones, or luxury bags like many people would, she sat down quietly and thought. "This is not just money," she told herself. "This is my mother's sacrifice. I must use it well." She rented a small office in Onitsha, bought one used delivery bike, hired one young rider, and registered her business name, Amani Express. Amani means peace. That was what she wanted for her life. Peace. At first, it was very slow. Some days, only 2 deliveries. Some days, none. Sometimes customers didn't pay on time. Sometimes riders disappointed her. Sometimes she felt like giving up. But she remembered her struggles, her tears, her lonely nights, and she pushed herself harder. She woke up before 5 a.m., made calls, sent messages, visited shops, begged business owners to try her service. "Just give me one chance," she would say politely. Slowly, people began to trust her. Her riders were always on time. Packages arrived safely. No stories, no excuses. Within 1 year, Amani Express had 3 bikes, then 5, then 10. She opened a small branch in Asaba, later another in Akka. She trained young people, gave them jobs, paid them fairly, and treated them with respect. People started talking. "That small girl? She is doing well, oh. Her company is growing fast. She's serious with business." But Amara stayed quiet. No noise. No showing off. No long posts online. She still lived in her small room. She still dressed simply. She still took buses sometime. And most importantly, she never told her family anything. Not her father. Not Ngozi. Not anyone from home. When they called to ask, "How are you managing?" she would smile and say, "God is helping me." When they asked, "Are you working?" she would reply, "Yes, small." She never mentioned money. Never mentioned success. Never mentioned Amani Express. Because she knew something. If they knew, they would come. With fake love. With sweet words. With hidden intentions. So she protected her peace. She protected her future. She protected her mother's gift. While her family thought she was still struggling, Amara was quietly building an empire. While they looked down on her, she was signing contracts. While they forgot her, she was rising. In silence. In wisdom. In strength. And destiny smiled, watching her win without noise. For 3 years, Amara focused only on her work and her growth. Amani Express became stronger every month. More clients. More riders. More offices. More respect. She moved into a better apartment, bought a small car, and lived a quiet, comfortable life. Still, she never changed her phone number. She never blocked her family. She just kept her distance. Then one afternoon, while she was in her office checking delivery reports, her phone rang. It was her father. She stared at the screen for a long time. Daddy. He had not called her in months. With slow fingers, she picked up. "Hello." There was silence at first. Then she heard his weak voice. "Amara, my daughter." Her heart tightened. "Yes, Daddy." I need to see you," he said. "Please." Something in his tone scared her. "Is everything okay?" she asked. He sighed deeply. "No." They agreed to meet in a small restaurant in Enugu 2 days later. When Amara arrived, she almost didn't recognize him. Chief Chinedu Okonkwo, who once walked proudly in fine clothes, now looked small. His igbata was old. His shoes were worn. His shoulders were bent. His hair was turning gray. Ngozi was not with him. "Daddy," she whispered. He stood up slowly and hugged her. For the first time in years, she felt his hands shaking. They sat down. He avoided her eyes. "Amara," he began, "I have made mistakes." She said nothing. "I invested in some business deals. My friends convinced me. They promised big profit. I put almost everything I had." He paused. "I lost everything." Her heart skipped. "Everything?" "Yes," he replied quietly. "Land, savings, properties. All gone." She remembered her mother's inheritance. Her land, her money, gone long ago. He continued. "After that, Ngozi she left. She said she didn't sign up for poverty. She packed her things and disappeared." Amara felt a strange pain in her chest. Not joy, not anger, just sadness. "My house is almost empty," he said. "Debtors are disturbing me. Banks are calling. I am ashamed." Tears filled his eyes. "I didn't know who else to run to," he whispered. "You are my daughter." There it was. Suddenly, she was important again. Suddenly, she mattered. After years of silence. After years of neglect. After years of lies. "Please, Amara," he begged. "Help me." Her hands tightened on her bag. Memories rushed back. The land documents. The jewelry receipts. The fake smiles. The scratched watch. The pain. She wanted to shout. She wanted to remind him of everything. But she stayed calm. "Daddy," she said softly. "Why now?" He looked down. "I know I failed you," he admitted. "I know I hurt you. But I am your father." She nodded slowly. Later that evening, her aunt called. Then her cousin. Then another relative. All saying the same thing. "Your father is suffering. You are doing well, we heard. Family must help family." She smiled bitterly. So now they had heard. Now they remembered her name. Now she was useful. Amara looked out of her car window that night and whispered, "Life is truly funny." When she had nothing, nobody cared. Now that she had something, everybody remembered she existed. Amara didn't respond immediately to her father's pleas. She thought long and hard. Years of betrayal, broken promises, and lost inheritance weighed heavily on her heart. But she also remembered her mother's words. "Fight for what is yours, my daughter. Never let anyone steal your destiny." That memory gave her courage. She decided it was time to take action, not just for herself, but for justice. She contacted Sola Mensa, a respected lawyer in Enugu, known for winning tough cases. Sola listened carefully as Amara explained everything. The land her father sold, the jewelry that disappeared, the savings that vanished, and the false promises he had made all those years. He leaned back in his chair, tapping his pen. "Amara, this is serious," he said. "But it's winnable. We will challenge this in court. Legally, everything your mother left belongs to you. Your father had no right to sell anything." The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Papers were filed. Witnesses were called. Every morning, Amara went to the court in her simple clothes, carrying a folder of documents that proved her claims. The courtroom was packed the first day. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers came to see the drama unfold. Chief Chinedu Okonkwo sat on the defendant's side, his face pale and tense. He tried to appear calm, but everyone could see the shame in his eyes. Sola Mensa spoke clearly and confidently. "Your Honor," he began, "the defendant sold land and jewelry belonging to the plaintiff, his only daughter, without her consent. These actions are illegal. The documents show clear proof of transfer and sale without authorization. We request the court to return all remaining properties to Amara Okonkwo and hold the defendant accountable." The judge examined the documents carefully. Amara watched silently, her heart racing. She felt a mixture of fear and hope. The courtroom was quiet except for the scribbling of notes and the occasional cough. Then came the verdict. "The court finds in favor of Amara Okonkwo," the judge declared. "All remaining property illegally sold or transferred by Chief Chinedu Okonkwo shall be returned to her immediately. The defendant is hereby warned that further illegal action may result in additional legal consequence." Gasps filled the room. The community whispered among themselves. People who had once respected her father now stared at him with shock. Some muttered, "How could he do this to his own daughter?" Others nodded at Amara, admiration shining in their eyes. Amara felt a strange mix of relief and triumph. The court had spoken, and justice had been done. Her father's face was red with embarrassment, but she did not gloat. She simply collected the documents, her head held high, and walked out quietly. Outside the courthouse, neighbors approached her. "Amara, you are brave," one said. "I never thought anyone could stand up to him like this." Another added, "Your mother would be proud." For the first time in years, Amara felt fully in control of her life. The property was back where it belonged, and her father's reputation had been publicly exposed. The community had seen the truth. And most importantly, Amara had proven that no matter how powerful someone seems, they cannot take what is rightfully yours if you are willing to fight. That day, she didn't just win a legal battle, she reclaimed her dignity, her inheritance, and her voice. The quiet, trusting girl from Enugu had become a woman who could no longer be silenced or overlooked. After the courtroom victory, Amara felt a new kind of freedom. She finally had control of her life and her mother's legacy. But she didn't stop at money or property. She wanted to create something that mattered, something that honored her mother's memory. Using part of her earnings and the money from Amani Express, she built a small school in Enugu for orphans, naming it Neka's Hope, after her mother. The walls were painted bright yellow, classrooms filled with books, and a small library was set up where children could read and dream. Every time she visited, she saw smiles, laughter, and hope, and she felt her mother's presence guiding her. After years of struggle, she also bought her dream home in Lekki, a modest but beautiful house with a garden, big windows, and a calm view of the lagoon. It wasn't just a house, it was her sanctuary, a place where she could relax, think, and plan her future without fear or interference. She decorated it simply, keeping memories of her mother alive through small heirlooms and pictures. Her father eventually tried to reconnect, but Amara was careful. She forgave him quietly, not for him, but for her peace. She set clear boundaries, no interference. No questions about her money or her life. Respect and distance were non-negotiable. She had learned the hard way that forgiveness didn't mean forgetting, and boundaries were the key to protecting herself. Sitting in her garden one evening, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and gold, Amara smiled softly. She thought of everything she had endured: betrayal, struggle, mockery, and pain. And she thought of what she had gained: independence, justice, success, and peace. "They stole my inheritance," she whispered to herself, touching her mother's locket. "But destiny gave me my crown."